I got the not found 404 in Google Search Console. Another thing it says is soft 404. And so that has a ton, but like I noticed if I go in and look at one, it's not actually going to 404, it's going someplace else because it's like a page with a lot of coding or something after it.
Right.
So tell me.
So the soft 404 is another category of page, and you're looking in the report that's called "Why Aren't These Pages Indexed?" Right? So Google will not index a 404 page, and that is where the Google the weekly reports you received is getting from the 404 page, because it's looking for the words "page not found."
Yes.
In your title tag and telling you how many views of pages had page not found. Search Console, it's important to look at Search Console on a weekly basis, and this is one of those places you're going to want to look at on a weekly basis. But soft 404 means basically there's not enough content on this page for Google to care about it. And so soft 404 is meaning Google's telling you, we think you mean this page shouldn't exist, so we're not going to put it in the index. So if it's a page with a lot of code that's like kind of almost a structural page or a template or something like that, sometimes those end up in there. So good. Thank you for not indexing that page, Google. Now we want to take it out, right? We don't want it. We want to make it private or draft or whatever. But God forbid, one of your soft 404 pages is a service page of a product you're trying to offer. You know, that's terrible. That means Google says there's not enough on this page for Google to even care about it.
So I think, so one of the things where I see what it is a lot is, so they are, like I said, they're a gym, which means that they have classes. And so they had their schedule. So when I look at this, it's got the page and then the post, and it says, you know, display event date 2019, 2018. So when you click on the actual thing to get there, it says events for, and then it says no events scheduled for April 3rd, 2019.
Right.
Jump to next upcoming events. So is that something that, you know, that's pretty much, there could have been somewhere that people were clicking on April 2019 and.
Well, so remember what Search Console is doing. It's not people. It's Googlebot.
Google. Okay.
So what you're finding, this is why looking at this report on a weekly basis is super important, because what you're discovering is the way that the calendar widget is set up for them. Literally will go on forever. You might be able to reach May 1st, year 3075 if the Googlebot keeps crawling far enough. You might be able to go back to 1865 if the Googlebot can crawl back far enough. So what you have is what we're calling a spider trap.
Okay,
meaning
and these are actually
the Googlebot can keep going into stuff that don't go there, Googlebot. Like, don't look at 1865. We know we did not have a class on November 6th, 1865, right? And we probably won't have a class in year 3000 either. So sometimes these widgets, these especially calendar widgets, can accidentally and automatically create pages that the Googlebot will start following and keep following and keep following on until, well, frankly, your website crashes because your integer's too big for the WordPress to handle it. So that's telling you there's a spider trap on your website that you need to fix to prevent Google from scrolling indefinitely through all time and space. Because when Google visits your website, it doesn't crawl every page of your site. It only crawls a few of the pages of your site. So if it's spending time crawling to the year 3000, that's 1,000 pages it's visiting that you don't want Google to see. Meanwhile, it's not even looking at the pages you want it to see. So it's worth investigating to see how you can prevent this event widget to create pages too far in the future, or
Yeah.
maybe you want to tell Google, don't bother to look at the events. Humans will be able to look at it. Maybe you robots it out or something like that,
Yeah.
discouraging Google from going that far. But there's strategies to that, because you very well could have a spider trap, we call it, because the Google spider is caught crawling through the whole site.
Okay, well, that's really good information, because I will tell you, just by looking at this, if I just go Soft 404, 2,205 pages. Woo! So that is a big spider trap.
Yeah. Well, if think about it, it's probably not even telling you all of them, because it's
because Google just stopped at one point and said, okay.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because really you should look at the page indexing report once a week. You might, and the goal of looking at this report once a week is work your way through it a little bit at a time. Eventually you'll get to the point where, okay, well, I know it's doing this, I know it's doing that. Okay, that's fine. And now I fixed everything, and I'm not surprised by what I find in there.
Okay. So going down this, like if there is a page with a redirect, is that something I need to be concerned about, or they've got it a redirect, so it's not? I'm just kind of looking at the page index.
Yeah. So there are a lot of little pieces of information in here. If you click on them, specifically, you can get to Google's documentation about describing what they are.
Okay.
Sometimes these are things that you should be aware of, but frankly, if it's a redirect, it's telling you the page is redirected, so we've not put it in the index, which is what you want it to do. So, but you might check to make sure a page has been redirected that you don't want redirected.
Yeah.
Or excluded by no index tag. Good. I don't want you on that page, Google. That's why I put the no
there
index.
Are some of those, so those are good.
But make sure that you're not a double negative. You're not no indexing pages.
Something you want.
That you want Google to see. So, but go through those, click on each of them in Search Console, read up on them, and ask yourself, is this what I want Google to do with pages like that? And if it's not, then I need to take other actions.
And I think for this client, I'm going to probably go through and look at some of the 404s and give them my opinion on those, and then send them the page for the Google Search Console and tell them to go through the rest of that, because this is a little bit out of my scope as far as what I'm doing for them. As far as like finding a bunch of all the other stuff, I feel like they had somebody update their website and they need to then go back and like finish fixing things. I can't hear you, David.
It's because I muted myself. Yeah. So you're bringing up a really good point, which is scope creep.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, here's the problem. Here are two big problems I see. Y'all work and figure it out, because like their website in and of itself is really not my specific. I mean, I want to learn and know this so that I know these are the problems. Okay, client, you work with whoever did this changes, because I believe there were rather recent changes to the site.
Probably that's why you saw the increase of errors, and that's the whole purpose of this, is to catch that so you can delve in.
Yeah.
So, like, remember, and this is not a slight to developers.
Yeah.
Developers' job is to make it work. When they remove the page, they did what the client wanted, they walked away. If we're worried from an SEO perspective, we need to fix that by adding a redirect or taking action. If you're not being paid to do SEO for them, well, maybe this is an opportunity to say, by the way, your developer is doing their job. They did what you said.
Yeah.
Problem is, the developer didn't understand their SEO implications, and if you care about that, you maybe need to hire me for some SEO work.